Well, we have a great group of folks on this morning. Thank you, everyone, for logging in early even. We've got one more minute and then, oh, it's 9 o'clock now.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can press ahead, Mark. I know you have limited time with us this morning.
I shared when Sarah asked, good morning, everybody, and I'm tickled to be here. When Sarah asked if I could join you all and talk about some questions and try and answer some questions that you all had, plus maybe go a little further on my expectations as we move towards the fall summit. I was tickled to do so. This morning I already had a 9:30 though, so I will walk off out of here right at 9:30. But I told the ladies this morning I'll be more than happy to schedule another opportunity to join one of these webinars if that's helpful to you. I had four questions that were asked if I would make sure and in touch. And one is rolling out the Connect strategy, the trios plans for the summit. And so please allow me the latitude that when I say trios, I'm talking about whatever county grouping the county groupings are in, and that trios cover most of them. But I also know that there's some duals, there's some quads, a few quads, and then we have the singles in the urban east and urban west. And when we talk about trying to move and pull some things together, probably the urban east and urban west need to think of themselves. The four of you in the urban east and the three in the urban west need to think of yourselves as a trio as we process some things moving forward. What I'm going, the challenge that I started laying out and very specifically to the CED-CES component, and is that as we get to fall summit, I was going to ask that you start, when we meet on Tuesday afternoon as a group of CESs, I'll be asking you all to set in trios. And we'll be asking them that you share what you know and have learned very specifically from your home county, but also as you started trying to make some inroads. And I know that's a little more difficult and may go a little slower, but eventually we will need to be working the Connect strategy within all the counties that you cover in your trio. Don't feel like that you're a lone stranger doing this. I know that Lapita is working on a fact-finding needs analysis set of efforts that she's going to be asking the youth faculty to move on as we get into late fall, early winter. And I believe Susan Mills-Gray and Jill Brett are doing the same. It's my understanding they're doing the same for the nutrition and health folks. So hopefully we as we look at this from different perspectives, as we get through this, we're going to have a really solid set of very local needs analysis and needs analysis in a way, and then also opportunities to grow and expand programs and partnerships through our trios. And so I'm excited about it. I realize that it's still murky about how we're going to go about doing this. I think that's the world today, though. And I'm find that as probably 18 months ago, I took a great big deep breath and sighed and relaxed and allowed myself to understand that it was okay not to feel like I knew exactly where we would need to go at this time, that we were going to have to be resilient and flexible and move forward, but we know what the end goal is, which is to find ways to address those three major issues that we've identified through our statewide needs assessment. And then, to be perfectly honest, Marshall has positioned us to hang extensions hat on, and what we're going to be measuring is the impact of our program is going to be measured against. So hopefully that answers kind of the trio plans for the summit. What I will share with you, and along with that, is one of my bullet points to share otherwise, was also the fact that when we get into spring, we will be coming out with an administrative update again, similar to the last 2 years. Or this year, we're going to do it in our trios. Will be probably be a separate or a special council meeting, I'm guessing, for all three councils. But besides a short administrative update, and to be honest, if they will be short administrative updates, we want people to understand that we're interested in being out there and we're going to come and talk to them and listen to them. This is going to be the opportunity for the CESs and those trios to help share with councils what they've learned, what as a group of CESs, we're in a trio, what your thought processes are trying to move some joint programming forward, and maybe it's not always joint programming, but maybe but maybe it is programming that's been identified that needs to happen across all three counties in the trio and those kinds of things. So there'll be an opportunity for you all to shine with not only your own council, but also the councils of the other counties that you work in the trio. So I hope that rather than seeing this as a concern, you all see this as an opportunity to really begin to trot out, if you will, our new way of providing extension programming across our various subject matters out and about around the state. Question number 2. I had one CED-CES mentioned he feels unable to connect strategy to the counties due to a less than cooperative non-CED-CES. That is a conversation that needs to start with your regional director. I think a lot of times Marshall has very much told us and shares that there's an open door. You hear Blake say that, you hear me say that. And I think at times we've forgotten that our regional director is our first contact for help, be it if you're looking for help in finding support for a program and finding dollars to do X, dollars to do Y, help to do Z, whatever it turns out to be. But those kinds of issues need to start with your regional director. And I visit the regional director today and very much understand that my expectation is they help faculty sort that out. And if it's something they can't help sort out, they're not bashful about coming to me and getting myself and Blake or Callan involved, whoever the appropriate person involved if need be. The regional directors make a good team, and they're part of your all's team as CESs, and you need to be comfortable and willing to use them. The fact that a CES may be a gatekeeper or may feel like they've got too many things going on, that's a good position for the regional director to help sort through and help talk through what's the appropriate balance on some of that workload, if that's the issue, or help them understand that gatekeeping is not the way we're participating in this game moving forward. Quite bluntly, that was a huge reason 2 years ago that Callie and I worked hard to go to a uniform statewide travel, because we were hearing that we had occasionally a council, but more often a county program director that was not allowing people to come in and do programming that had been requested. That's also the reason we was determined to put 30%, cover 30% of local travel, was so that we could kind of turn off that gatekeeping, or the reason for that gatekeeping. So I hope that helps point you in the right direction. If you, CES who asked this question, if that doesn't help you out, please don't hesitate to give me a call, because if I've misunderstood the question, please don't hesitate to give me a call and chat about it. Otherwise, if I did understand that correctly, start with the regional director, and you be bold enough to say that you're following the instructions that you got from this webinar.
Mark, can I interrupt for a second? We've got some feedback from the audience members that there's difficulty hearing you. Are you able to move your microphone any closer? I know personally I'm struggling a little bit. And also you have typed up responses that you will be sharing with Hannah and I that we'll send out. Is that correct?
No, I don't have the typed up responses. This is, what I have is my typed up outline of what I was touching base on.
Okay.
And we'll be sharing with that so it can come out.
Okay, I think that noise is a little bit better, and
I adjusted my mic when I started, and I thought I had it pulled all the way up. I don't want to step out and try and adjust it, so I will make a more of an effort to talk in my outside voice, and I pulled the mic. So we'll go with it.
Great.
Thank you.
Sorry, folks. Question number 3 that was listed here is a CES who's not in a trio noted that there was a demand for health and nutrition programs to CESs in that area, and she was wondering, can volunteers teach these courses? That is a conversation. It looks like I'm rereading that. Health and nutrition, that's a conversation that you need to be having with your regional director and Susan Mills-Gray. And volunteers typically are not approved to teach these courses standalone. And I don't know exactly which courses they may be asking about, if it's Stay Strong, Stay Healthy, or Matter of Balance, or some of those. But there's some of the planet coursework has some very stringent requirements on who can be trained and who can teach those. That much I am aware of, but that's a conversation that you need to have with your regional director, and to let her know you're going to be talking to Susan, and then to let them know you're going to be talking to Susan, and then give Susan Mills-Gray a buzz and start that conversation. Again, we're in a programmatic reset, and things are a little bit different, and everybody's still trying to find their way. And that's a conversation I believe that will help both the CES and the nutrition health field specialists maybe find their way. Do I have any, and the 4th question was, do I have any additional suggestions for making county extension councils aware of Connect strategy and sharing results? The sharing results, I have not sat down and had that conversation in depth with either Hannah or Sarah or Steve. So I'm not sure exactly which direction with the sharing of results. I've heard, to be honest, I've heard a little bit of conflicting comments coming back through CESs that they've been asked to share and were told they couldn't, and that's something that probably Sarah and Steve need to get their heads together and figure out how they want that information a little better disseminated to the councils. But I would just be reaching out to your councils, and especially you're probably maybe struggling more in the other regions, or pardon me, in your other counties, but work through your other CES to have an opportunity to touch base with that council, and maybe that council can help get you some introductions to some folks that you need to be having those Connect conversations with, and that's a good way to help get them involved in the local extension program that may or may not be happening. With that, I wandered through the questions that you all had asked or surfaced at the training in June or July here on campus. Time flies when you're having fun, and I can't remember what those dates were. But if there's other questions that, as I answered these that came up, I'll be happy to try and address those as well. Otherwise, I'll talk you through some other bullet points, and I'll see if there's some time for us at the end to ask additional questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Mark. As a reminder, please use the chat to ask questions, or unmute yourself and ask questions. We have Mark for another 17 minutes. I have been summarizing the conversation in the chat, and then we will send out an email after the webinar. So anyone with questions?
Well, giving folks time to think, I'll go ahead and touch base on a couple of the other bullets that I wanted to share. In the next couple weeks, we'll be getting some additional information out to all the CESs about the CES training at the Fall Summit. We'll be starting about 1 o'clock on Monday, and going into dinner time on Monday for some CES training that will be for all the CESs. Some of the topics that we're going to be looking at for the Monday afternoon and Tuesday morning training will be done by 10. So as other folks start to get there and mingle and arrive, the CESs will have an opportunity for the connecting and getting acquainted with the colleagues. That's always an important part of the fall summit. But we're going to be asking Kevin Hansen to spend some time on QuickBooks for county for our CESs, so you understand how to get the reports and how to kind of monitor the reports and oversee what the county support person is doing around bookkeeping. Because I'm almost positive that there's very few councils that have anyone that understands how to take a look at that. So that's a piece that we need to be able to be willing to do. We're going to give a best practices update around fiscal and management policies. There is a set of policies that's been posted that will be coming down fairly quickly. It will be reposted, updated as it is. It will be posted as best practices rather than policies. As councils, there's been some instances where councils have chosen to do things that don't make the most sense in our world, at least. And we've had some CBDs or CESs that have really been struggling with some of that because the original policy basically kind of gave you the impression that it truly was the CES's responsibility to make sure all those things happen. We're trying to help provide a better understanding of the roles and responsibilities with the councils for the CESs and the regional directors, and we're lining them up more as guidelines, best practices and guidelines, rather than policies that we have to enforce. So we hope that'll be a plus. The negative that I've got right now is that we were supposed to have somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 county offices been contacted by new auditing to do a process audit to help us understand the processes that we're doing, and they were going to help strengthen those best practice pieces. They've had some illness in that office and someone leave, and so the person that's supposed to do that one doesn't even start until, my understanding, starts immediately after Labor Day. So we will be putting up an updated version, an initial version in the next couple of weeks. And after that, when we get the information back from our risk management auditing at the system level, we will update those policies then at that point in time. So we hope that that's something you all will find very useful. Also have an update on alternative spring breaks. Those of you that have been county program directors in the past, you need to reach around and pat yourself on the back and say thank you to the alternative spring breaks folks. We have had an alternative spring break function occur in every county in the state a year ahead of schedule. All the alternative spring breaks folks have agreed to work with that, with all and try and have an event happen in every county in the state, find students that will do that by the end of 2020. And we haven't done that. It's already done, and we're not even to the end of 19 yet. They are getting ready to start around again and want to be, and so they'll be helping set the stage for CESs to help identify projects and opportunities for alternative individual students to come out on alternative breaks. So that'll be part of our training. Tuesday, we will have an update on some HR tools with Tamara Ahold, and don't get confused. You'll hear cameras a lot. We have two cameras in fiscal and HR now. Tamara Ahold is the assistant director for HR, and Tamara Robbins, we know already around working with councils and council financials. So sometimes it gets confusing, so hold us to making sure you know which camera we're talking about from time to time. We will have someone from CARES come talking about what we're trying to do is for a new template around annual reports, putting annual reports together an easier operation. And then we're going to be asking some of the RDs to work with the CESs and talk to CESs through local elections. So that's what's kind of planned for training at the Fall Summit.
Mark, just real quick, can you share the dates of Fall Summit again? I know you said Monday afternoon and Tuesday morning. but which week is that in October?
It is in October, and it is Monday the 21st through Thursday the 24th for the official Fall Summit efforts, or well, actually it's the 22nd through the 24th for Fall Summit. We're using the opportunity with the CED-CES early on. And I think there's a couple of education directors that are doing something at the end of the Fall Summit as well. But I don't know if that impacts the student CES as well.
Thank you.
Already shared a little bit about the spring council meetings with the trios. The regional directors have been asked to have the dates for those meetings within their region to us by the end of October, so that we can move forward and get those scheduled with the administrative folks, and then also then we'll be, once we know those dates, we may be asking as we progress through the spring what we've been asking right off may change a little bit as we move into April and May, but we're looking at trying to have these all accomplished in March, April, and May. So I think that hits the bullet points, and I've got 10 minutes for questions.
Well, one just came through the chat from Jeff Szymborski. Says, confirming, are the civil rights audits now being planned for the calendar year 2020?
We're assuming that they will have, we were told they would happen in fiscal year 2020 with the huge turnover in personnel at NEFA with the move to the Kansas City area. I don't know, calendar year 2020 may be more accurate, but we are going to, Mike Crouch is still leading the effort and is going to make sure that we're up to speed, and once we know the dates, it'll be a relatively simple process. We hope to be well prepared. Good question, Jeff. But you're not off the hook yet. You still got to get that all done. I see Mallory ask a question.
I was just summarizing.
Okay.
Everyone?
This is John Gulick.
Hi, John.
Hey, John.
Mark, I just had a question about the opportunity that you presented a couple months ago with working with the business college. It looked like last week there was at least 20 different projects already in place. I've got one hopefully here in Osage County. Do we need to be, I've been working with Sarah Traub. Do I need to be working with anybody else within Extension, or is Sarah kind of our link now with that program?
John, Sarah is our link with that program, and there's going to be, I know she and Lauren Vingrath, who's the actual professor with the program, and then also Anna Marie Foley with Service Learning. Service Learning is going to be, if you will, providing the record-keeping service for the hours of work and the evaluations for the students and those kinds of things. I think they are planning on sometime right after Labor Day of trying to have a series of 1 or 2 webinars, Zoom sessions to bring the co-instructors, which would be you, John, with the program, the co-instructors or supervisors together and talk quickly about those pieces of expectations. And for those of you that jumped in and got your feet wet with this, it's really appreciated. It's I think a really exciting opportunity. I think, and I think there's an opportunity for us to continue to grow and move some of those forward. And Sarah is aware. If you wind up with not the projects that were identified weren't quite enough to satisfy the class, we're working on an alternative through Anna Marie Foley's shop, where we still may be coming out and very specifically asking a faculty member design program that we think can be helpful as well. So I'll share more about it if that comes to pass. Right at this point in time, we think we're getting close to enough projects that we will have to do more of a structured project. We can truly let the projects do things that communities are actually wanting to do.
Thanks, Mark. You know the group that's working on here in Osage County, so you know how much appreciative we are of this opportunity. So thank you.
I think it'll be a good one.
So Misty Ritter has a question. She says, we are working on budget presentations. Any advice? And Misty, if you want to provide more detail.
Well, in our county, our budget requests for county appropriations comes a little earlier than some. So our council is working to accommodate some of the increase in personnel costs that we're looking at. So our our extension council is trying to decide if they're wanting the to increase their request to the county for more funds, or just continue to kind of absorb some of those additional costs by lean managing the operation here. So any thoughts on some good language that I might be able to share with the council? I know Marshall Stewart's coming into town, and a lot of our council is going to have the opportunity to kind of hear firsthand some of his thoughts about it. But honestly, our budget requests are due about the same time. So
First class counties are under the gun, Misty, in a little bit. We know that, and so while we're not ready to go out and have the MOUs out and ready for all the counties, those of you with first class that are CESs and first class counties, your all's budget requests are due September 1, if I remember correctly. And don't hesitate to call and talk with Pamela Robbins. She's prepared to try and give you some guidance on actual numbers as close as we can get for this time around.
sure, they've been really supportive in helping us identify the formulas, and we kind of feel we have the numbers. What's catching everybody off guard is just trying to think ahead to even what next year looks like, because that will help us strategize on if this is a good time to ask our county to try to consider the opportunity to increase their support, because next year might continue to trend in that same direction of needing more increased support. So like I said, I'm just trying to we have some budget meetings coming up, so I just want to try to support the council in those decisions on how they want to approach the county.
Okay. Well, the pieces that I can quickly share, and I'll own up to the fact that I've slept enough times that I don't remember the exact breakouts of it, but we are doing some things, point blank, budget or benefits. The university at the system level made the decisions for FY 20 that departments were going to be full costed benefits instead of the university giving them reserves for benefits. They changed the way that they calculated the benefits to actually also try and make the actual cost on the position closer to what it was. Previously, it had been just a flat 36.37. This past year, it varied up and down, it's been slowly working up from around 34 over the last several years. This year, as Misty shared, to more, it costs, and so it's based on a percentage. So point blank, a family, an employee with a family that is in the $35,000 a year, the insurance for them costs the university just the exact same amount as for a professor that's $100,000 a year. So the university system made the decision that it wasn't all going to be based on percentage. There was going to be a $10,000 flat fee towards benefits for anybody that was benefit eligible. that significantly changed our calculations for our counties because of the pay structure and the way that we were looking at a lot of these positions, and that's what Misty is concerned about. What we've done is for YPAs, we have made the decision that we would cost sharing on YPAs and moving slowly towards that in steps with some counties. Some are already at 50-50 cost share. We have made the decision that to try and be good partners, we're going to figure out a way to come up with more of the money of that benefits increase, and so we're going to go 60-40. That I'm almost guaranteeing most of the councils when they still punch it through, when they get to the year where they're at 60-40, they're probably still going to be paying more than they would have been at the 50-50 rate. But that's an increase that we cannot completely absorb and keep the number of positions out in the state that we want to. In fact, we're trying to move forward and still have a plan working with the PETA, trying to move forward to where we can offer a cost share YPA in every county. So more than you wanted to know on that, but kind of some food for thought that paints the background a little bit differently. With the existing University of Missouri local administrative support, and so we offered through an MOU within county council that wanted access to the benefits for the county support staff to work with us with an MOU to move that forward. That one is one that those folks are MOU employees to us. So we basically followed the requests by the local council on whether or not they can afford a salary increase and these types of things. So it's just an MOU employee that can be stepped away from at any point or at the end of the year for a county council. Those we've taken a two-step piece. We took it to 40. We took benefit rate from 36.37 or 32, whichever it was, to 40% for this year. We think we're going to be able to hold that line for the ones that are already employed. Anybody new, any new councils wanting to come on, or someone resigns and you replace somebody after the first of the year, it's going to have to be at full cost. We simply cannot afford to that much of a goodwill department gesture, to be really honest. It is, when we get into the number of faculty positions we can afford to have out in the state as well. So I don't know how you frame that, Misty, to be part of your conversation with your council, but I guess what I'm trying to tell you is, you know, the steps moving forward for the YPA position that I think you all put in place. Now you need to understand that unless something catastrophic happens, it's not our intent to go over 40% for the MOU administrative support that are already in place. And it works with anybody else going forward. It's just they're going to have to know it's going to have to be full cost.
Well, thanks, Mark. I know it's right at 9:30, a little bit after. So there's some other questions. So if we have some other follow-up ones, we can send those to you afterwards.
I'll be happy to address them and send it back with the bullet list. How's that?
Perfect.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thanks for the opportunity. If this was helpful and you need me to step back in another time, I'll be happy to. If we can get late sometime, we can do that as well. We just need some lead time so that we can get it on our calendars. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you everyone who asked a question. I was trying my best to take notes and post notes. So I'm actually going to run these notes by Mark and make sure that what I heard was accurate. And when we get his responses, then I will send out the revised questions with answers to the group. So Meredith, you asked another question. We will get that question to Mark. For everyone else on the line, please feel free. This is our opportunity to engage with Mark Stewart. So let's, let's make the most of it. And as a reminder for those of you who were not on when we started, the chat box is at the bottom. If you're not familiar with Zoom, you can also just unmute yourself and ask questions. For the next 20 minutes, I want to just show you a few resources that we've been working on here in CED. So I'm going to share my screen. And just say that, you know, we were listening at the B and C meetings in July, and we heard a lot of things. You know, we heard that there needs to be more onboarding resources. As someone who just joined the organization in July, I agree with you. There's a lot to learn, and it's nice to, you know, have a place. What do you want to use?
That's something. Sorry, guys. Oh, someone just popped up in the chat. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Misty got thumbed up. Okay. All right. And John is asking more questions. Wonderful. Keep posting those questions. So this is a Canvas. This is the course learning system that the University of Missouri uses for students, either all online or students who attend on campus. And this is where, you know, people post resources. But the university also allows us to have an account just for an online file repository and a place to interact and engage. So we are testing this out. After this webinar, everyone will get an invitation to join Canvas and see this CED module that you see in front of you. And that email will come directly from Canvas. So when you log on, I know many of you may not have any previous experience, whoops, courses. Under courses, you'll see CED. And when you log in, you'll see these modules. This is a work in progress, and we want to continue to develop this to be responsive to your needs. So this top part, welcome to MU Extension, is just a first cut at sort of sharing some resources, helping people kind of get the lay of the land. And you'll see there's different features to this. So some of these are pages where we share information. So we use regions, you know, new to me, right? Here's a picture of the regions in the state. Here's a link to the list of regional directors. Here's a link that explains county councils. And then here's a list of all of the current CED-CESs that we will update. And Taylor, we just added you to this list. Welcome again, week 2. And then further down here is the organizational leadership structure. So you can see Mark Stewart is the Director of Off-Campus Operations. There is not a link to educational directors anywhere online. So I couldn't put that in there. I will come back and I will write that in by hand. Some of you who have been around, you meet educational directors at various times, and I'm still learning how you engage with them, so I won't say a whole lot more about that. And then this is kind of a static page with resources. There's also the opportunity to have a chat or a place where we store information with each other. So I have been in Extension for a long time, but I still remember what it's like to be a day one employee and to feel like, what am I supposed to do in the field of community and economic development? Because this work can take on many different forms, and it should, because it should be responsive to each individual community's needs, where they are in the process, what excites them, who wants to be engaged. And that means that sometimes you may find yourself thrown into an area that you know nothing about. And that's okay. It's impossible to know everything. I've built this as an invitation to all of you to begin talking and sharing some strengths and knowing who in the organization you can reach out to when you find yourself in a brand new topic area or needing a brand new set of skills that you haven't had the chance to engage with before. So I shared a little bit about myself here, and I encourage you to, also share and to reach out. going back to the main module page, down here is the Connect strategy. So there are resources for CED-CES. There is the box folder, which I need to put in here and explain for people who may not use box. And Wayne Pruitt says, please include all of the RDs. You got it right, Wayne. I will do that. So we have box that is a resource for us. Now we have this Canvas, which I hope will be a resource. And we also have a listserv, don't forget, that this is another way to tap into the statewide network of folks. You know, I think we're all gonna improve our work when we can work together. But part of that is just understanding who's out there and what are people doing. So this module walks you through the various parts of the Connect strategy. It's built from the materials that were already in the box. And it's supposed to make it a little bit easier to navigate those materials. So through this series of pages, you will see some background information, kind of a high-level summary of what's going on. And then there's some embedded PowerPoints that if you were present for previous webinars, you have seen these before. And Canvas allows you just to kind of navigate through this structure at your own pace. Now, we recognize that since the webinars occurred, some things have changed. So you will see, like, the webinar for data profiles didn't talk about MZ County reports, but that was added after the fact. So I would use this background text that appears here as a starting place, and then you can access the webinars for more detail. And again, this is designed to kind of help people who have just joined, who've joined since the Connect strategy was started, but also as we move the Connect strategy into our next phase of engaging with a second county in your region, you might want to come back here and get a refresher. Again, somehow we want to be collecting your feedback on this strategy. And yes, we can send out Qualtrics surveys, which I think we might want to do, but there's also a chance here. This is another discussion board. It has this different conversation logo. This is a place for you to ask questions. And this will be monitored. It actually sends a text message to my cell phone whenever someone posts. So don't expect responses on the weekends, but your posting something here does go somewhere. It also generates an email. So please use this to your advantage. Help us improve the Connect strategy by surfacing the things that work and are not working for you. That's the Connect strategy module. Down here is the start to another module. And again, this is just a very preliminary start. But our hope is to use this Canvas structure to host background information that will help everyone learn about community economic development. In the future, you'll see a module come on, Introduction to Data Analysis. We heard at the BNC meetings that people prefer to learn in person. And I get that, I understand that. The Canvas, we hope, is an intermediary step where we can start to assemble materials. We can give people the opportunity to look through this on their own time. And then when we get to a place where we feel like, okay, we've kind of made a nice package of materials, now let's look into resources and how do we actually do some face-to-face training. I'll be very curious to hear what kind of training opportunities happen at Summit. Maybe there's a chance to do something really interesting with that time together. So are there any questions about this? I'll just open this up. This is one page right now. This takes you to a resource that has been developed by University of Wisconsin Extension faculty, Steve Deller. He created an entire website for people in his state that worked off campus in community economic development. And Sarah has been talking with him, and she said, can we just, give you that whole website? And he said, yeah, but I encourage you to actually make your own and make it tailored to Missouri. So for now, we have just linked to his introduction PowerPoint. We will be adding more materials to this as we go along. I will add a discussion board to this if you have general questions about this. But this Canvas resource is an experiment. I hope you use it. I hope it's valuable, and I hope you tell me, what works and what doesn't. And I understand that this should not be the end all, be all for communication, but we hope it does kind of provide some value. Okay, so where we hope it goes, it's a one-stop for internal resources. I hope to add some programming pages, sort of available programming, programming that's coming. We heard about exciting pilot programs, Missouri Eats and Passports to the Arts. It would be good to put that here. Yeah. Any questions about this? I don't see any questions in the chat. Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions if you have them. Otherwise, you will expect a Canvas invitation after this webinar, and then you can go back in and see what's here for yourself. Two new messages. Okay, looks like a good start to valuable resources. We certainly hope so. Please provide feedback. Misty says UMSL, okay, University of Missouri St. Louis is using Canvas for online class group management. I appreciate the uniformity of using this tool across the system. Yeah, that's one nice thing. It is a system-wide tool. You might see different Canvas pages pop up for different areas. So this one is managed by CED, and it's going to try to focus primarily on community economic development as a topic area. Perhaps other programmatic areas will do something similar. I think SBDC has their own system. Originally, we thought we would develop a website, but I hope that this is actually more useful because it has some communication features to it. Well, if anybody else has any questions, you can put them in the chat or you can email Hannah and I directly. We are filling in for Sarah Lowe, who's in DC talking to the Extension Manufacturing Partnership this morning. She was very sorry that she couldn't join everyone. And otherwise, great start to Thursday morning, everyone. Thank you for spending time with us here today. As a reminder, next Thursday, there is another webinar with Joanna. Let's see, Joanna Reed-Adams and David Burton will be talking about community leadership development as an effective form of engagement. So we hope to see you next week.